Have you ever wondered, like, if Smash characters existed in real life, what sports would they play? Well, that's the question I'm here to answer today. What's good, everyone? Today, I'm trying something that's wildly different from my usual style of content. I don't know, just figured I'd try something new, so let me know if you like it. But before we go any further, I'd like to announce that this video is sponsored by Amino. Amino's always been an amazing app to connect with other Smash fans, but they just released a new feature on their platform called Stories that I'm pretty excited about, and I think you'll like them too. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about stories used on other social media platforms, but Amino stories are unique because they're designed to explore specific topics in more depth, like Super Smash Bros. And other Nintendo games. I recently made my second Amino story, which discusses who I think the best character in Smash Ultimate is. A lot of my ideas wouldn't involve enough content for a whole YouTube video, but that's where Amino stories come into play. I'll be making exclusive videos over there, and really want you guys to get in on the fun. You can follow me on Amino by clicking the link in the description, and if we hit 300 followers, I'll give away some amiibos. Again, thanks to Amino for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. So first of all, there are a few things I want to mention. There's certain sports that will fit a lot of characters on the cast, but I'm going to try to make it as diversified as possible so I don't have everyone playing the same sport. However, there will definitely be groups of like 2 or 3, maybe 4 that are playing the same sport. That's just kind of inevitable with over 70 characters, so keep that in mind. And for the earlier characters, if I don't pick a sport that you feel like would be a really good fit for them, it's probably because I'm saving it for a later character, and the sport would fit them even better. With that out of the way, let's get into this. So Mario's your kind of all-around athlete, right? So I decided to pick basketball for him, not only because he has a game in his franchise about it, but because you kind of need an all-around skill set to be good at basketball. So I feel like that's a good fit for him. There's no doubt that Donkey Kong would be an amazing boxer. Even if we didn't see him do this in Punch-Out, imagine trying to knock out like this big-ass gorilla or ape or whatever. Like, you can't take that thing down just by punching it. Except canonically if you're Little Mac, of course. So for Link, I think the first thing that would come to people's minds is archery, because that's kind of his signature projectile move, you know? But I think he'd also be very good at some sort of throwing sport, because in Breath of the Wild, you can throw a lot of different items. Whether it's weapons or bombs or whatever, you always see this guy throwing something. So I think he would be a good javelin thrower. I feel like he could hurl the thing better than most could. Samus and Dark Samus, it was kind of difficult to come up with something for these, but I'm going with ping pong. The power suit would give them a lot of strength in their arm, and it would help them react to wherever the ping pong ball is going. Yoshi, without a doubt, would be a great long jumper. Either this, or he cooperates with someone else in like some sort of horse race or derby. Even though he's not a horse, he has a saddle and the ability for someone to ride on him. Kirby, I mean, this one's pretty obvious. He would dominate eating competitions. He can just inhale everything, literally, and he would never like get full or anything. Fox would be great at laser tag, because his gun acts very similarly to a laser tag weapon. He's also pretty agile, so he can avoid getting hit. However, I mostly went with this because I couldn't think of a sport that involves flying like a jet or anything. Now, hear me out. Pikachu and Pichu would be amazing dodgeball players. Not only are they a difficult target to hit, but being so small means that their arms basically cover their entire body. So there isn't a place you could throw it where it's difficult for them to catch. I figured Luigi would like a sport that's slower paced than Mario's. So I think he would be a great golfer. There's no type of contact or really any threat to him involved. He can just concentrate and hit the ball. Ness is a baseball player because he has a baseball bat, and I don't think there's much else I need to explain here. Captain Falcons is also kinda obvious. He would absolutely be a NASCAR racer. Even if he's used to racing in like a jet, he could do something like Formula 1 racing, which isn't too different. Jigglypuff would be the best bowler because she has the ability to roll herself into the pins. Even if it's technically against like the rules of bowling, it would be much more accurate than other people who are just trying to throw the ball. I believe that Peach has the style and grace necessary to be a good figure skater. She just has a calm, concentrated mind, you know? And she's generally a lot quieter than Daisy. Speaking of Daisy, she would absolutely be the best cheerleader. With how loud and, dare I say it, annoying she is, it would only make the most sense. I get a vibe from Bowser that makes me think he would really enjoy watching football. So he could possibly coach a football team. Just like commanding his minions around, he knows how to tell his players where to go. So they can make a good formation. So obviously the ice climbers would be very good at mountain climbing or rock climbing or whatever, but consider this. What if they played croquet? It's a game which involves small hammers that they're very good at using, so it's something to consider. So the first thing I think when I see Sheik is precision, at least in this case when I'm trying to find sports. If anyone could nail a bullseye in a dartboard, it would be her. Zelda would be our ultimate kickball player. I mean, seriously, have you seen those lightning kicks? They kill at 60 in Smash, so I can't even imagine how far she could kick a kickball in real life. Dr. Mario would be one of our fitness trainers. He knows how to stay healthy and how to avoid straining your body, even though he's not really in the outfit to go play a sport himself. This is about the closest we're gonna get for him. Falco would be our #1 high jumper, because not only does he claim to prefer the air, he also has the highest initial jump in Smash Ultimate, besides Shulk with jump art. Now, for Marth and Lucina, I'm sure everyone instantly thinks fencing, right? But I want to be a little more creative than that. So I think these two would be amazing power walkers. They walk so much faster than everyone else in Smash, it's not even funny. I wasn't quite sure what to do with young Link, but something tells me that he would be very good at bowling. He's strong enough to handle the bowling ball, while also being accurate enough to get a strike. He has that balance that a lot of other characters lack. Ganondorf would be the guy to join one of these arm wrestling clubs and just completely destroy everyone. Seriously, if he has the power of darkness on his side, his arm strength must be no joke. Mewtwo would definitely dabble in something that involves mind games, which would be either chess or checkers, or even athletic sports where mind games are involved. As for the rest of our Fire Emblem sword fighters, I think they'd be very good football players. I think Roy would be a good running back because he's a bit smaller and younger than Chrom and Ike, so he really has that running speed nailed down. Chrom would be a great wide receiver. He can also run fast similarly to Roy, but he really has the height to get up there and catch that ball, you know? Without a doubt, Ike is the burliest of the three, so he would make a fantastic tight end, since he can hit harder than the other two while not being able to run as fast.
Now, I'm not sure which sport Mr. Game & Watch could play. Because of his 2D figure, he probably doesn't have a lot of strength behind him. Maybe something that involves gambling or luck because of his side B. Mr. Game & Watch could probably be the best poker player known to man. Pro Mr. Game & Watch players can definitely hit those 9s more often than they should.
Meta Knight would be the real fencer. I mean, this is what he really specializes in. There's nothing more this guy enjoys than a fair sword fight with someone else, especially since he can swing his sword faster than any of the Fire Emblem characters. Pit and Dark Pit would definitely be where archery comes into play. Their movesets revolve around using a bow, especially since they can guide their shots if their initial accuracy was a little bit off. I think it makes more sense for them than the Lynx, since their bow is pretty much the only weapon they use, besides maybe their side specials. One thing Zero Suit Samus could do better than anyone else is acrobatics. The way she can move in the air is unlike anyone else. Have you seen that flip kick? It's insane. I also think she'd be very good at gymnastics and soccer, since she's flexible and has very strong legs, especially as most of her moveset involves kicking. However, there are a lot of other potential soccer players in Smash Ultimate's roster. Wario would also be a competitive eater. He has the ability to eat pretty much anything and just dispose of it instantly, almost like Kirby, except maybe not to that extent. Still, he would be an amazing eater. For Snake, I'm torn between gymnastics and mixed martial arts, because there are a lot of other mixed martial arts people I'll be mentioning, and the same goes for gymnastics, but both of them are such a great fit for him. Have you seen how this man stretches his leg during his up tilt? That move should not be as good as it is. I don't think there's any way he could use his explosives as part of a sport, because they're kind of dangerous to other people, but gymnastics and mixed martial arts would be great fits for him. Pokemon trainer would of course be another fitness trainer. I could also see him being a coach for some other sport. I haven't come up with what Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard could possibly be doing as sports, so I don't know, don't ask me, I'm moving on. Diddy Kong would be a great lightweight wrestler. Have you seen his side special where he can just latch onto someone and then bonk them in the head once he's done? It's pretty insane. He seems to be very good at grabbing a hold of someone, which would benefit him greatly in wrestling. I think Lucas would be a good soccer player. I don't know, honestly. Some of his moveset involves kicking, and I don't really know what else a kid like him would be good at without using his PK powers. I think we all know what Sonic is good at, so I hope you all can figure that out on your own. King DDD would be our first sumo wrestler. He has the weight and he knows how to use it, especially in moves like his dash attack. He would also be very good at eating contests, but I felt like sumo wrestling was more unique. I think Olimar would also be very good at dodgeball. Not only is he small like Pikachu and Pichu, but he could potentially use his Pikmin to get in front of him if he's not prepared to catch the ball. Lucario would absolutely be a martial artist. I don't know if he would compete in the regulated mixed martial arts, but he would definitely do something along those lines. Rob would enter a robotics competition because I don't think robots would be allowed in human sports. He's also technically just a toy in real life. However, whoever builds that toy and brings it to a robotics competition would absolutely win. Toon Link? Hang gliding. Absolutely. I think he was the first of the Links to use this, but I could be wrong. And the fact that he can do this using only a leaf, as opposed to Breath of the Wild Link, who had to get an actual hang glider to do the job, that's pretty impressive. Wolf seems to have the most powerful gun between the three Star Fox characters, so I think it's fair to say that he would be a marksman, especially since his lasers are so big that it's pretty hard to miss his target. Villager would go fishing, not only because he can do it in his games, but because he seems like a guy that has the patience for that kind of sport. Mega Man would definitely be a soccer player, since there's an entire game based off of that apparently. I didn't know of this until you guys pointed it out to me, so thanks for that. Wii Fit Trainer, I mean yeah, she's a fitness trainer. She could also be a good soccer player because it's in her Smash moveset, and she's also very flexible, so she would be a good gymnast. There's a lot of things Wii Fit Trainer would be good at, but I think the fitness trainer thing is most fitting because she's literally called Wii Fit Trainer. Rosalina would be amazing at limbo, since she can levitate, so she could get in a full, lying down position, except she's not actually touching the ground. Couldn't think of anything else, honestly. Wow. I wonder what he could play. I'm just having, such a hard time coming up with a sport for this guy. If only he had, his whole moveset based around one or something. Greninja uses water attacks, so it would only make sense that he can play water polo. I don't know if they have any sort of regulations against, splashing your opponent, but even so, if he can manipulate water, that's gonna be extremely powerful in a game that's based around water. Palutena would be our #1 pole vaulter. She's used to carrying around a long staff all the time, so that would help her quickly get accustomed to pole vaulting. Also, since her feet don't touch the ground while she's running, or I guess floating, she doesn't have to match the pole vault with her stride. She can just go whenever seems right. This gives her more freedom to time her vault. Pac-Man would be our last eater. I mean, his whole game is focused around eating things, so it only makes sense. Robin would also play some mind games, similarly to Mewtwo. Definitely chess, but again, this opens the possibility to even a bunch of non-athletic sports. Shulk would be our only beach volleyball player, because he's the only one that has a shirtless ult in Smash. He also just seems like he has a good figure for it, you know? It also helps that he can see the future and know where the volleyball would be. Bowser Jr. would definitely do kart racing, because he would definitely have more control over his own kart. He's also a tennis prodigy according to pre-patched Mario Tennis Aces. Duck Hunt would definitely do some sort of dog racing, and having a bird on top of him would really help propel him ahead of the other dogs. Actually, would it? I don't know, since all of them are running so fast. So for Ryu and Ken, a lot of people would think martial arts, right? However, I've already done a lot of that. So a thought popped into my mind. What about rugby? Since they seem to have about equal strength in their arms and legs, they would be fantastic at rugby. I think Cloud would also be an extremely good tennis player. The way he moves with that Buster Sword makes me think he could move even better with a tennis racket. Especially when you look at the animations for his forward tilt. He really knows how to move his arms in a way that makes sure he hits his target. And he's also pretty fast. Bayonetta would absolutely be either gymnastics or a dancer. They both involve similar skill sets, so I think she'd be good for both. Corrin would definitely be our second kickball player. Not only would he be good at kicking with his bare feet, his gigantic dragon arm would easily allow him to catch a kickball. England uses paint, so they play paintball. Yeah. Ridley would definitely be a good hunter. It's more of a recreational activity than a sport, but I think it's close enough, and I don't know what else a freaking dragon would do. I look at Simon and Richter's neutral specials, and it looks a lot like a shot put, so that's what I think they'd be good at. They'd be good at shot put. King K. Rool would be our second sumo wrestler. He's big and he has that round stomach just like our other king over here. And yeah, he just has a figure for it, which is especially displayed in his dash attack. Having armor on his belly also helps. Now, Incineroar's whole moveset is based on wrestling, so he'd definitely be a heavyweight wrestler. Even against the largest and heaviest opponents, he can just wrap his big ol' arms around them and give him a good suplex. And boom, they're pinned down. Isabelle could be good at a few things. She'd be a very good cheerleader, since she has that positive attitude. She can also go fishing like Villager, especially since she actually has the rod in her moveset. But also, she could be a very good manager for talented sports players. I don't know, she just seems to have that kind of work ethic. I sat here for minutes just thinking like, what kind of sport could Piranha Plant possibly play? Until I finally came to the conclusion that this is our other basketball player. Seriously, he could throw it into the air and blow it into the hoop if he wants. He could just stuff it in his mouth and fly up to the hoop. You can't beat the plant when it comes to basketball. And finally, Joker would also be a very good baseball player, cause he spent all of Persona 5 increasing his proficiency through baseball. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments if you want more of this stuff, because it's certainly different from what I usually do. Thanks again to Amino for sponsoring, and I will catch you all in the next video. See ya.